even though there's lots of tribes, we need every single one of them in order to have Indian country strong.
Right now, what I think is going on at Standing Rock is the land is returning back to nature. And as I understand that every year it floods. And so it was real important to take all the living materials and put it away. But as I understand that, the drilling is now going on.
Actually, the pipeline goes through they're trying to go through the Missouri River about 20 miles, a little over 20 miles north of Fort Yates.
The government is trying to build a pipeline on the Sioux tribe reservation, and the Sioux are fighting back against it.
They're trying to get the Dakota Access Pipeline to go under it, but the native tribes are afraid that it would spill and pollute the waters.
My understanding of what's going on in Standing Rock is the Dakota Access Pipeline and having the oil pipeline go near the reservation's water supply, the main water supply, and previously there's lots of protesting going on supporters of water and making sure that the Dakota Access Pipeline doesn't go through the Standing Rock's reservation's water supply.
The timing of Standing Rock was extremely important. There was a big change, and as I understand from speaking with Lakota families, there was a big change that for once this was led by the youth. It was inspired by the youth with their walks to Washington. And it started not only a nationwide but international move towards a spirituality that either has to happen for our survival as humans on Earth, or it's a choice to ignore our needs or the needs of Mother Earth, which can lead to a path of destruction.
Now, what the people of Standing Rock are trying to do is they're working on saving the water, and then when they're talking about the water is that in going about it, they'll say water is sacred, water is life. So what they're trying to do is that sometimes they were making it was kind of a Standing Rock issue, saving the water. But what they were looking at doing is trying to saving the water for everyone. Because when you look at how far the Missouri River flows, it goes to North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa. So there's a lot of places that get water off the Missouri River, whether to drink, to feed their farm animals, to irrigate their crops, all large part off the Missouri River. Looking at, that's what they were fighting for, is that water is life. And when you look at it, like, we can go without food for X number of days, but we have a hard time going without water for X number of days. So their objective was really looking at trying to save the water, not only for the people at Standing Rock, but all the way down the Missouri River as it flows. They're looking at trying to help them save the water, because if we have a leak, that's where it's going to end up going. So if the pipe has a leak in it, then the Missouri River flows so quickly that it's going to go all the way down, and it'll go from Fort Yates to Mobridge to Chamberlain and so on. So that's kind of what they were looking at doing.
I feel like we need Standing Rock because everybody, not just Native people, but everybody, we need a fresh, clean water supply. and the pipeline would just pollute it and destroy water for everybody.
We need Standing Rock so the public will know that we can fight these environmental problems that we're facing today, and especially Native peoples, because we're just tread on. The government does whatever they want. And, all these environmental problems we're having, we need to put a stop to it, and this shows the public that we can actually start doing something about it.
It's important because water is life. Water is one of our main nutritions, not just for ourselves, but also for the things that we live off of, whether that's the buffalo, the salmon, just even the nutrition for our plants. Water supports everything.
Standing Rock will affect future generations because it will show them that you can actually stand for something and get something done. If a lot of people believe in the cause, you can actually put a stop to it. And we see that with Standing Rock. They had to change their route because originally they wanted to go under that lake, but Obama changed it where they wouldn't be able to protect Native rights and everything. So in the future, we'll look back on this and say that, or be able to see that anytime people come together for a cause, and if you just continually press for this cause, you can get it done.
Each Teospe of the Lakota people had a chance to come together for one purpose again. And not only the Lakota people, but all different Indian nations. This was the first time that we ever came together. And our voice within United Nations has been strongly identified. We're realizing our banking power when we go internationally, where countries are divesting in those companies that pushed for Standing Rock. I think with those negative directions of the government, the negative directions of the Army Conservation Corps in the past, in history with Army Conservation Corps, historically we weren't able to be heard as individual groups, but Standing Rock happened, and for the first time all Indigenous groups, or many Indigenous groups, were heard as one voice. But Standing Rock happened, and for the first time all Indigenous groups, or many Indigenous groups, were heard as one voice. Standing Rock has made me react. I had to get up and get in the car and go. I've never spoken out to as many senators and legislatures as I have in the past months before. I email pretty frequently now to make my voice heard. I make certain that I went to the state capitol and start understanding those processes. I'm aware now of our place in the UN with the Indigenous Rights Council, and how do we become better known to all the delegates within the UN. I think an awareness has to happen nationwide.
A large number of people seen that they protested, but they were under control, and they had the topic, like to save the water, and other people realize how important water is. So I think one of the things that came out of that was showed how many tribes came together to look at preserving the water. I mean, because if you look at all of the tribes all over the country, that water is such an important peace to them that, and I think it was a good thing how they all came together to fight for one good common cause, and that, you know, so I think that's a thing that showed here. So I know that we're going to have something else that will come up, and that people hopefully will rally around, you know, a good common cause. Like for us, they're looking at really at saving the water.
Well, future generations won't have clean water, and I feel like it will affect future generations because it will put like I don't want to say like a bad image, but it would hurt us as Native people in the future, seeing that this pipeline just came and destroyed sacred sites, and that would hurt us deeply.
I feel like Standing Rock was a key factor in uniting all the tribes and focusing on what we need to stand up for within our own Native people. And so it was a good unifier between not just the U.S. but also globally.
Could you say water is life in your native language?
In my Apache language, we say one that has water with life, and it is Tubejindai.
Mini Wakan, it's mini is water and Wakan is life, so mini Wakan.
Mocha Minucha.
Water is life.